Elon Musk became a citizen of the United States in 2002, and this is the point when his political activity in the country can be clearly tracked. Before that, he lived and worked in the United States but did not have full political rights such as voting or donating in the same way. After becoming a citizen, he started to take part in the political system mainly through financial contributions and business-related contact with government officials. His actions during this time were not focused on promoting one clear political belief or ideology. Instead, he focused on building working relationships with people in government who could affect his companies. He gave money to both major political parties in the United States, which are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. These donations were officially recorded in public databases that track political funding, such as reports required by the Federal Election Commission. This means the information is verified and transparent, not private or hidden. His companies, especially SpaceX, also spent large amounts of money on lobbying activities. Lobbying means paying professionals to communicate with members of Congress and government agencies to influence decisions. These efforts were focused on issues like space contracts, satellite regulations, and energy policy. Millions of dollars were spent to make sure that laws and government decisions would support the goals of his companies. This shows that his political involvement was closely connected to business operations rather than personal ideology. During this early period, his main goal was to get access to important decision-makers in government, not to publicly support one political side. He made many trips to Washington, D.C., especially between 2008 and 2013, which is where the United States federal government is based. These visits included meetings with officials from Congress, federal agencies, and the executive branch. The purpose of these meetings was often related to contracts, such as NASA agreements with SpaceX, and regulations affecting Tesla. His political actions were directly linked to business needs like funding, legal approval, and policy support. He did not present himself as strongly supporting either Democrats or Republicans in public speeches or interviews. Instead, he kept a balanced position so he could work with whichever political group was in power at a given time. Around 2014, he explained his political views more clearly in public statements. He said that he was half Democrat, half Republican, which means he saw himself in the political center. He also described himself as socially liberal, which means he supported individual freedoms in areas such as lifestyle choices and civil rights. At the same time, he said he was fiscally conservative, which means he preferred lower government spending and careful use of public money. This combination of views is often called moderate in the United States political system. It means a person does not fully agree with one party, but instead chooses ideas from both sides. His statements show that he evaluated issues one by one instead of following a fixed political identity. In this early stage, he also tried to avoid being deeply involved in public political debates. In 2015, he said at a public event that he took part in politics as little as possible. This shows that he wanted to focus mainly on technology development and running his companies. However, even while saying this, he continued to donate money to political campaigns and maintain government connections. He stayed active behind the scenes while appearing less involved in public discussions. One way to describe this behavior is that he tried to play both sides off against each other. The phrase "play both sides off against each other" means using two opposing groups in a way that benefits himself without fully supporting either one. In late 2016 and early 2017, Elon Musk entered a new stage of political activity by working directly with the administration of Donald Trump. This happened right after Trump won the United States presidential election in November 2016 and began forming his government team. Musk accepted positions on two official advisory groups created by the White House. These groups were called the Strategic and Policy Forum and the Manufacturing Jobs Initiative. They included leaders from large companies such as technology, finance, and manufacturing, and their role was to give advice on economic growth, job creation, and industrial policy. Musk decided to join even though many people in the United States strongly criticized Trump's views on immigration and environmental issues. Musk explained clearly that joining these groups did not mean he agreed with all of Trump's policies, but that he wanted to provide input on important national issues. During the first months of 2017, Musk publicly explained and defended his decision to remain part of these advisory councils. He said that being inside the group allowed him to speak directly to the president instead of communicating through media or public statements. This direct access meant he could explain his views on topics like renewable energy, electric vehicles, and advanced manufacturing. He also said that if he left the councils, he would lose the chance to influence decisions that could affect the future of energy and industry in the United States. At that time, he believed that staying involved could lead to better results than refusing to participate. This shows a clear change in his approach, from staying mostly outside politics to becoming directly involved with top government leadership. One of the most important issues during this period was climate policy, especially the global agreement called the Paris Climate Agreement. This agreement was created in 2015 and signed by many countries to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and limit global warming. Musk strongly supported this agreement because his companies are focused on clean energy and reducing emissions. He communicated directly with members of the administration and tried to convince them to keep the United States in the agreement. He stated publicly that if the government decided to leave, he would no longer stay in the advisory groups. This shows that his participation had clear limits based on specific policies. His continued involvement depended on whether the administration's decisions matched his views on climate change. On June 1, 2017, the United States government officially announced that it would withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. Immediately after this announcement, Musk posted a public message stating that he would leave both advisory councils. He explained that climate change is real and that leaving the agreement would harm both the United States and the global environment. He also said that he had done all he could to give advice before the decision was made. His resignation happened on the same day as the announcement. One way to describe this change is that he chose to walk away from the advisory role. The phrase "walk away from" means to leave a position completely because of disagreement or personal principles. In this situation, it means he stopped working with the administration because he did not agree with its climate policy decision. It marked a shift from cooperation with the administration to separation based on a specific policy disagreement. This event changed how many people understood his political position at that time. From 2018 to 2020, Elon Musk's political behavior became much easier for the public to see because he started sharing his opinions openly instead of mainly giving money behind the scenes. He used interviews, public events, and social media to express what he thought about politics. In 2018, he clearly said that he was not a conservative, which means he did not identify with traditional right-leaning political views. He also continued to describe himself as politically moderate, meaning he did not fully belong to either major political side. At the same time, he said that in the past he had usually voted for Democratic candidates. This shows that even though he spoke more openly, his earlier tendency to lean toward the Democratic Party was still present. However, he also made it clear that he did not agree with every policy of the Democratic Party. In the same year, 2018, he shared more detailed opinions about economic policy, which helps explain how he thinks about government and money. He supported the idea of a consumption tax, which means taxing people based on what they spend instead of what they earn as income. He also supported estate taxes. Estate taxes are taxes taken from a person's money and property after they die, and the tax is paid from what they leave behind before the rest is given to their family or other people they chose. He explained that these ideas were meant to improve fairness and efficiency in how money is collected and distributed by the government. These are specific policy ideas, not general support for a political party. At the same time, he supported universal basic income. Universal basic income is a system where the government gives every person a regular amount of money, no matter their job or income, to help cover basic living needs. He connected this idea to the impact of automation, where machines and software may replace many human jobs in the future. In 2019, Musk gave one of his clearest public endorsements by supporting Andrew Yang, who was running in the Democratic Party primary election. Yang's campaign focused strongly on universal basic income, which he called the freedom dividend. Musk said that this idea would likely be necessary as technology continues to change the job market. This shows that his support for Yang was based on agreement with a specific policy rather than loyalty to the Democratic Party. In 2020, Musk also supported Kanye West, who ran as an independent candidate. However, Musk later said that he advised West to delay his campaign, which suggests he had concerns about its timing and readiness. During the 2020 United States presidential election, his public statements about candidates became more detailed and sometimes changed over time. In one interview, he said that he might consider voting for Donald Trump if Joe Biden was not a suitable option. Later, he said that he did vote for Biden in the 2020 election. This shows that his decision was not fixed early and developed as the election progressed. His statement suggests that he evaluated each candidate based on individual factors instead of following a strict party rule. This behavior matches his earlier description of himself as politically moderate. It also shows that he became more open about discussing his personal voting decisions in public. In 2021, Elon Musk's political statements began to change in a consistent way that people could easily observe. He started to openly criticize the administration of Joe Biden, especially after a White House event focused on electric vehicles. This event included several major car companies but did not include Tesla, even though Tesla was the largest electric vehicle producer in the United States at that time. Musk said that the administration was not the friendliest, which showed that his relationship with Democratic leadership had become more negative. During the same year, he also criticized a large government spending proposal called the Build Back Better Act. This proposal included hundreds of billions of dollars for climate action, healthcare, education, and support for families. Elon Musk did not support the Build Back Better Act mainly because he disagreed with how it planned to spend a lot of government money, even though he does support action on climate change. He said the bill would make the government spend more than it earns and included many programs that were not directly related to climate issues. He also criticized the electric vehicle tax credits because they gave extra benefits to union-made cars, which excluded Tesla while helping companies like General Motors and Ford Motor Company. Musk also said the electric vehicle market is already growing well and does not need a lot of extra government support. He prefers solutions where the market decides what works best, with less government control, instead of large government programs. He criticized the Build Back Better Act mainly because he thought it spent too much government money, increased national debt, and included policies like subsidies that he believed were unnecessary. This view is often connected to a political belief in limited government involvement. His statements during 2021 show a clear movement toward ideas that are more commonly associated with conservative economic thinking. At the same time, he was still not fully aligned with one political party in all areas. In early 2022, Musk made a direct and clear statement about his political position. He said that he could no longer support the Democratic Party and described it as the party of division and hate. This was a much stronger and more definite statement compared to his earlier comments, which were more balanced. He also said that he planned to vote for Republican candidates in future elections. This marked a clear change from his earlier identity as someone who supported both parties depending on the issue. The shift was not gradual in how he spoke about it, but instead appeared suddenly as a firm decision. Many observers consider this moment a key turning point in his political alignment. In June 2022, Musk gave a specific example of this change by saying he voted for a Republican candidate for the first time. The candidate was Mayra Flores, who ran in a special election in Texas. This is important because he had previously said that he mostly voted for Democrats in earlier elections. This shows a clear change in his actual voting behavior, not just in what he said publicly. Around the same time, he also began to speak positively about Ron DeSantis from the Republican Party as a possible future president. Later in 2022, Musk increased his level of political involvement through both money and communication. He donated large amounts of money, reported to be over $50 million, to political groups that supported Republican causes, including an organization called Citizens for Sanity. These donations were used for advertising and messaging during election campaigns. He also publicly encouraged voters to support Republican candidates in the 2022 midterm elections, saying this would help create balance in government power. At the same time, he used social media more actively to share political opinions and messages. One way to describe this stage is that he began to line up with one political side more clearly. The phrase "line up with" means to show clear support for a specific group. From 2023 onward, Elon Musk's political role became much larger and more direct, going beyond simple opinions into real influence on elections and political movements. A key tool for this was the social media platform X, formerly Twitter, which he bought in October 2022. After taking control of the platform, he used it actively to post political views, reply to users, and shape discussions. Because X has hundreds of millions of users, his messages could reach large audiences within minutes. Researchers and public reports showed that his posts often received high visibility, including millions or even billions of views. Studies also found that changes to the platform's algorithm, which controls what content users see, increased the reach of certain political opinions. This meant that Musk was not only sharing his own views but also influencing what kinds of political content became widely seen. As a result, his role in politics changed from being just a participant to also being a distributor of political information. The platform became an important place for political communication, especially in the United States during election periods. Journalists, politicians, and voters all used X to follow and respond to political events in real time. Musk often engaged directly with political topics, including elections, policies, and government decisions. This created a situation where one individual had both a large audience and control over the system that distributes information. His influence was therefore both personal and structural, meaning it came from both what he said and how the platform worked. This combination increased his overall impact on public political discussion. In 2024, Musk's political involvement also became large in terms of money. He created a political action committee called America PAC to support the presidential campaign of Donald Trump. A political action committee, often called a PAC, is an organization that collects and spends money to influence elections. Musk donated more than $270 million to this group and related political efforts. This made him the largest individual political donor in that election cycle. During the same 2024 election period, Musk also gave strong public support to Trump in ways that went beyond money. He publicly endorsed Trump after an assassination attempt in July 2024 and appeared at campaign-related events. On X, he posted messages that supported Trump and criticized Democratic candidates. Reports from analysts and media organizations state that he also shared claims about election fraud and immigration that experts described as false or misleading. Some of these posts reached extremely large audiences, with view counts in the billions. This shows that his political influence worked through both funding and communication at the same time. It also shows that his platform played a central role in spreading political messages. In 2025, his political activity expanded beyond the United States into international politics. Reports and analyses showed that he supported political groups in multiple countries that focused on reducing immigration and limiting government regulation. A study published in February 2025 found that these activities took place in at least 18 countries. He also supported specific political parties in Europe, including Alternative for Germany during election periods. One way to describe this stage is that he began to branch out into international political influence. The phrase branch out into means expanding activities into new areas beyond the original focus. In early 2025, Elon Musk moved from influencing politics from outside into holding a direct and official role inside the United States government. This change happened after Donald Trump won the 2024 presidential election and began forming a new administration. As part of this new administration, an organization called the Department of Government Efficiency was created through an executive order, which is a formal directive from the president. This organization was commonly called DOGE in government documents and media reports. Musk was appointed as one of the leaders of this department, working together with Vivek Ramaswamy during its early stage. The main goal of this department was to reduce government spending and improve the efficiency of federal agencies. In this position, Musk was involved in actions that directly affected how government agencies worked. Reports state that teams connected to the Department of Government Efficiency were sent into multiple federal agencies to examine their operations and spending. These teams reviewed budgets, staffing, and internal processes to identify areas where costs could be reduced. They were given access to internal systems and sensitive data in agencies such as the Treasury Department and the Office of Personnel Management, which manages federal employees. Some reports also stated that certain programs were reduced or completely shut down as part of these cost-cutting efforts. Musk himself publicly stated that he was responsible for shutting down the United States Agency for International Development, known as USAID. These actions show that he was not only giving advice but also directly making or influencing operational decisions. During this same period, Musk also continued to promote clear and specific ideas about how the government should operate. In a public discussion on February 3, 2025, he said that the default approach of the government should be to remove regulations or choose not to enforce them in many cases. This reflects a strong belief in reducing rules that affect businesses and individuals. He also focused heavily on reducing federal spending, including proposals to cut large amounts of money, sometimes described in trillions of dollars. These ideas were consistent with his earlier public statements about limiting government involvement in the economy. The difference in 2025 was that these ideas were no longer only opinions but were connected to real actions inside government. This made his role much more powerful and direct than in earlier years. His role in government also led to strong criticism and debate among experts, politicians, and the public. Critics pointed out that his companies, such as SpaceX and Tesla, have large contracts and financial relationships with the United States government. This raised concerns about conflicts of interest, which means a situation where personal business interests could affect official decisions. Some experts said this could reduce fairness and transparency in how government decisions are made. Others argued that someone with business experience could help make government operations more efficient and reduce waste. These different views show that his role was not only active but also highly debated and controversial. His time in this role lasted until May 30, 2025, when he officially left the position, after a period marked by legal challenges, political criticism, and concerns about conflicts of interest. In July 2025, Elon Musk publicly said that he wanted to create a new political organization called the America Party. He explained that this new party was meant to be different from the two main political parties in the United States, which are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. In the United States, these two parties have dominated national elections for many decades. Musk said his new party would mainly focus on reducing how much money the government spends each year and lowering the national debt. He described this approach as fiscally conservative. At the time of this announcement, Musk was publicly disagreeing with some policies connected to Donald Trump, even though he had shown support for Republican ideas earlier. Musk explained that the America Party would not try to compete in every election across the entire country. Instead, he suggested focusing only on a small number of important elections, especially elections for the United States Congress, which includes the House of Representatives and the Senate. These specific races are often called key races because the results can affect which party controls Congress and what laws get passed. Musk believed that winning even a few of these races could give his party enough influence to affect national decisions. However, he did not release a detailed plan that clearly listed policies, rules, or goals for the party. Political analysts said that many of his ideas seemed based mainly on his personal opinions rather than a fully developed party system. Public opinion surveys showed that only a small percentage of voters said they would support this new party. This low level of support suggested that most voters were not ready to move away from the existing two-party system. By August 2025, reports from media organizations indicated that Musk was starting to change his approach. Instead of continuing to actively build the America Party, he appeared to be reconsidering whether it was practical or realistic. Creating a new political party in the United States is difficult because it requires legal approval, large amounts of funding, and strong nationwide organization. During the same period, Musk increased his direct financial involvement in politics by making large donations. By early 2026, he had given about $42 million to political campaigns and political organizations since the middle of 2025. A significant portion of this money went to groups that support Republican candidates in upcoming elections. In the United States, campaign donations are a common way for individuals to support political ideas and candidates. This shows that even while he was thinking about creating a new party, he was still actively working within the existing political system. He did not follow through on fully building the America Party as originally announced. The phrase "follow through on" means to complete something that was planned or started. This means he started the idea but did not carry it all the way to completion. Musk's attempt to create the America Party shows a clear effort by a business leader to directly shape the political system. In the United States, it is rare for major business figures to try to form an entirely new national political party. His actions received a lot of attention from news organizations, political experts, and the general public. Some people believed that his idea could help reduce the strong dominance of the two main parties. Other people believed the idea was not realistic because of the many legal rules, financial costs, and organizational work required to build a successful party. Even though the America Party was not fully developed or established, the attempt itself is still a clear example of Musk's direct involvement in politics. It shows that his role goes beyond business and includes efforts to influence how political systems operate.